As soon as we have more updates on Hathras, we will return to that. But shifting our focus to what happened in the Parliament, where Prime Minister, in his reply to the motion of thanks in the President's address in Lok Sabha, has not only taken on the Congress, but also made snide remarks at Rahul Gandhi. He called the Congress a parasite, a party that can do nothing by itself, couldn't reach even 100 in this elections, and also drawing an analogy, made reference to Rahul Gandhi, saying the House witnessed childish behavior and childish tantrums. I'm being joined by my colleagues at this. We'll try and get my colleagues online as well, but I'm also being joined by guests. G.S. Prashant, who's a spokesperson for BJP, Advocate A.P.S. Khadial, who's a spokesperson for Congress, and Madhavan Narayanan, who's a senior journalist. All through the Prime Minister's speech in the Parliament, you had the opposition raising the slogans of Jawab Do, Nyay, demand for responses and justice. Prime Minister Modi, of course, made certain references to NEET almost an hour and a half into his speech, where he did say there's a probe underway and that there will not be any laxity in the probe whatsoever. But let me just go across to Madhavan Narayanan at this point. I'm told Mr. Khadial is not with us yet. Madhavan Narayanan, almost 2 hours in the Parliament. What do you make out of what the Prime Minister's speech was?
Sneha, let me say there is good news and bad news. The good news is that the Parliament finally seems to be functioning. There was Rahul Gandhi's speech yesterday and you have Modi responding today. There has been a debate. The sad part, as I feel it, because I was introspecting, I'm sorry, I'm going to slightly hijack your question based on what I am concerned about. There has been a fall in the level of parliamentary standards, and I could see it in the way things were today. Slogan shouting, as well as, it's much better than the 2G's case and the farm protest days when Parliament simply did not function. But if you look at the speech of Mr. Modi, 80% of it was something that could have been said in 2014 or 2019. There's nothing new in what he said. The tone seemed to be a little shrill. And of course, he made a point about Rahul Gandhi speaking in childish tones. And there was one fleeting response to 3 critical issues. The NEET exam, which he said, okay, arrests are being made, fine, okay. Agniveer, again, there are factual examinations needed. On Hindu, the claims by that Rahul Gandhi had insulted Hindus is also highly questionable, because we were all watching it on video, recorded video, and there are nuances to be discussed here, and it's for the media to actually take a call, and we should rise above this whole business of simply letting people level accusations followed by spokespersons saying predictable thing. The media has to raise and actually call the ball. We are the linesmen in this ball game, and I feel very sad that most of the debate is full of mudslinging and old tales. Why is the Parliament not functioning the way it should, based on not only point-by-point rebuttals at length? The speech could have been shorter. Both Rahul Gandhi and Modi could have made shorter speeches, and none would have been any less wise. So, Rahul Gandhi did raise critical questions yesterday, and at least stylistically, he made a new point. Modi's response, by and large, has been to repeat the old, I would say, points on the Congress party, going too much back into history, going back to independence, going back to emergency, talking about Savarkar. To me, it seemed, somebody asked me on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, I said that I'll be on Mirror now, and that person says, is there anything to discuss at all? And it's actually a very interesting point. What are we going to discuss if we are going to become a republic of repetitions? Are we going to examine facts?
All right,
and logic?
Republic of repetitions. Okay. Advocate A.P.S. Khadial, you've joined us. You've heard what Madhavan Narayanan has also said, and that's a very important point to look into, what really has been the outcome of these 2-3 days in the Parliament. But let me also ask you, and obviously you would want to respond to this, considerable time of Prime Minister's response. at least after the initial 15 minutes, was taking on the Congress, saying that calling the Congress a parasite, and making very strong remarks or references to Rahul Gandhi, as it were. Do you see this? Many would say that this is politics at its best or worst, depending upon whichever side of the political spectrum they would be, Advocate APS Karyal.
First and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Modi for being present in the parliament in the first place, because the number of press conferences that he does is also really, really low. And the number of parliament speeches in the presence of Mr. Modi has also really been low. An example of 2021 would do us right. There's a report of the print which suggests that Mr. Modi in 2021 was present in parliament for mere 4 hours. Mere 4 hours. Number two, would have been really nice if Mr. Modi, as much enthusiasm and as much vigor he shows when it comes to talking about Mr. Gandhi, talking about the leaders of the Congress, I think if 10% of that would have been shown for the country, would have been shown for the students that have been affected due to these 4 exams that happened in 10 days. 4 exams in 10 days were either cancelled or postponed. Thanks to the Bharatiya Janata Party's negligence and ignorance, 40 lakh families have suffered because of that. And you see, when we demanded a discussion over NEET, over Agnipath, over the Manipur issue, and other relevant issues which are important to the people of India, the Bharatiya Janata Party began a propaganda of its own. And as if they are unbothered and as if they do not care about the lives of all those 40 lakh families that have been affected with this. And we did seek for Mr. Pradhan to resign, because back in the day he suggested that no paper leak happened, and he gave a clean chit. When the Bihar Economic Offences Wing had suggested that a paper leak did happen, Maharashtra government said injustice happened with the students, and subsequent to that, an inquiry was ordered, qua NEET UG, which goes on to suggest that Mr. Pradhan was lying in the first place. Therefore, why should he not resign? So these important questions weren't answered by Mr. Modi, and neither did he answer as to why did he prioritize his foreign trips over 32 to 34 lakh families that were affected due to NEET. 24 lakh families that were affected due to NEET. Mr. Modi, instead of speaking, prioritized his Italy trip. And after that, subsequent to that, when another...
But Mr. Karyal, what would you say? What would you say to the 2 hours of... Before I go to the BJP's GS Prashant, I want to ask you one more question. What would you say to the 2 hours of slogan shouting that the opposition did?
Well, if the Prime Minister would try to do away with his responsibility, his answerability regarding the issues of the people, we will make sure that he is brought back on the track and he does answer the questions of the country. The country wanted to know what will happen with the students that have been affected due to these exam leaks, paper leaks, fiascos, blunders, we call it, whatever you can, because it's a record. 4 exams in 10 days have suffered. And number 2, I think everybody knows it for a fact that the Bharatiya Janata Party did not order a Supreme Court monitored probe. Time and again, we have been asking for a Supreme Court monitored probe because it has the highest possible credibility. And the agencies, allegedly, we have seen how they have not been able to perform 100%. We have seen how allegedly they've been reduced to the puppets of the Bharatiya Janata Party when 95% of the cases registered by the CBI and ED allegedly are against opposition parties. The conviction rate has gone down. So, one, instead of making a fast-track disposal of the case, instead of making a time-bound ordering a time-bound inquiry, the BJP government wants a slow-track disposal of the case for some reason, has been giving clean chits, the ministers have been, and now that an inquiry has been ordered, it goes on to suggest that the ministers weren't right, that they were being judged here in execution for no reason. And when we demand answers to these questions, instead of answering, Mr. Modi would go on an entirely different track. He's more interested about Mr. Gandhi. He's more interested about the Congress party than he's interested about